Thank you for tuning in to us today. This is a breakout session that we're having here at the historic Mount Olivette Missionary Baptist Church. We are here to talk about all of the work that we're doing in Overtown, to get a little bit of history from the foundational people here in Overtown, hear more about what we have going on, the rehabs, the projects, and also where we're going, and some of the visions that we have with some of the projects that we have in this area, and especially on this street here. So I'd like to introduce...
Hi, I'm Trina Harris. I am an original native of the community of Overtown, and I still reside here as a homeowner in the community. But I'm a proud member of Mount Olivette Missionary Baptist Church, where I grew up as a child here, and happy to kind of share this space with Mother Geter, who has been in this congregation for over 50 years now.
About 50.
About 50 years.
Right now, I'm Mother Geter. I'm under the leadership of Reverend Franklin R. Clark, which is my pastor, senior pastor. And I have been a member of his church for over 46 or 50 years. And I'm very proud of my home.
So in your time at Mount Olivette, you've served, other pastors have led
Reverend
as well.
Sampson, Dawkins, Reverend Clyde, and
I believe it was Reverend Mickens as well.
Reverend Mickens. It was Reverend Mickens, Reverend Dawkins, Sampson, Clyde, and that's the right now. I can't remember, but those are the core. And now it's Reverend Franklin Clark.
Okay. So leading under the history of Mount Olivette, I know it was established back in 1912. And originally, when I read through the history, it was first established in a cottage in someone's home. And then the first building was built, I believe, back on 4th Avenue and 19th Street.
And before we do, we should introduce... Before I know we want to dive into the details and get into a lot of the history of the church, but I also wanted to introduce Dr. Evalina Bestman. Dr. Bestman, please.
Greetings to everyone, and I am so elated to have an opportunity to discuss the Overtown community. I am a native to Overtown. I was born right here on First Court, where Mount Olivette is, and the historic Mount Olivette Church. And when we grew up, children in the community attended whatever church was nearby, and they also went to church wherever their parents were. And so while I attended Sunday school here at Mount Olivette, because I really was attending, my mother attended St. Matthew's, which was too far for us to walk for kindergarten in order for her to get ready for church. So when we left here, we then went to St. Matthew's. And so, but Reverend Sampson was here at that time, and it was an outstanding church. It grounded me in terms of Sunday school and education.
Thank you, Dr. Bestman. Now, Trina and Mama Geter, tell me a little bit more about the history of Mount Olivette Baptist Church.
Well, so Mount Olivette was established back in 1912 under the leadership of Reverend Sampson. He was a powerful visionary in the community of Overtown. The church was birthed out of a cottage of a home. And then the first building was built, not in this location, but in another part, a couple blocks away. There was a huge hurricane that came through at a time that kind of devastated the community and destroyed the church, the original church. But after that time, the church came together and then they rebuilt this facility.
Back in those days, we all came here to this church, but I was belonging to Reverend Thompson. But my sister has been a member of this church from the beginning, Annie Slater. She was here when Dr. Simpson was here and all the other pastors. She was my baby sister. I was in and out until Reverend Smith got me and said, no, you're going to come here. And when he told me I was going to come here, I haven't left here yet. And I'm very proud to be a member of this church. We have had everything in the we have did a lot for the community. We have did everything until we had a little problem with 2020, what was the pandemic coming in. But we are so glad to be established ourselves back again. You understand? God is good to us. And he worked it, we prayed, and we appreciate what you all have us go do with. And we're continuously going through that. But I've seen this place come from the bottom to the top. Back in our days when we were coming, everybody was family. We were family. So you had everybody in this neighborhood knew each other. Everybody. Your children was our children. We can talk back. You see children today, what they're doing, but we didn't have that. And this church is still standing here, and this church used to be outstanding. They did a lot for the community. They have a lot of children, and we used to be very, very active and quiet.
So I heard earlier, Dr. Bestman, you mentioned how powerful the male choir was back in the day. You just want to share about kind of some of the highlights?
Well, I remember because I was being a member of St. Matthew's and then subsequently a member of the historic St. Agnes Episcopal Church here Overtown. The male choir would be invited when we had fundraisers even. They would come and sing to help us raise money. And we were always excited. We always knew when they were coming that it was going to put it on fire, that we really feel the Holy Ghost and really praise God for having blessed us and with having them as a part of our program. So it was very exciting whenever they came, and we'd have, it was uplifting. And they felt very proud. You could tell they were men who were very proud and had a lot of pride in what they were doing in terms of praising God through song.
Now, Dr. Bestman, and, one of the things I really wanted to talk about was just, what you ladies have discussed earlier, which is the importance of community and having the church as a center place to ground, our young folks, and how uplifting all of what we did in this community was. And the importance of the CRA, Community Redevelopment Agency, coming in at this time and rehabilitating, historic structures, not currently designated, but old structures, and revitalizing the community and trying to incentivize, what we did. And Mama Gita, you talked about the blessing.
Yeah.
And we prayed for it.
Oh, yes.
And it happened. And through the actions of our board members who are the elected officials in the city of Miami, they've shown a commitment to this community, and they approved the $1.5 million grant to do the rehabilitation of not just to the church, but also to the educational center that you have. Can you tell me some more, Trina, about the two buildings that we have here?
So, well, first of all, I want to say thank you to the Omni CRA and also the City of Miami commissioners who supported this effort, and the board. It's been a long journey to this point, several years, several different administrations, different commissioners at the time, where the church has been hoping and praying for the amount of support. So I know, speaking for the congregation is just utterly thankful for the level of investment that has taken place thus far. Mother Gita, you can just share a bit about kind of how grateful We are.
I'm not only grateful, and I give God the praises, but sometimes we have to come down and praise our own. I thank God for you, and I thank God for that she got in touch with you, Ms. Jones and CRA working, because it's overdue. It's overdue. When I say overdue, I never thought that I would live this long to see this day come. God has been good to us. Now when you see what is happening, when you see this is happening, it's going to bring us back our people. It's going to bring us back our children. We're going to do what we used to do. We're going to live how we used to live. This is what we need. You understand? And when you read the Marvels and do these things, you bring people in. And we have a good choir. We don't have the choir, but we have good people. And with this in the middle of Overtown, this is a learning place. It's going to come back just like it used to be. And that's what we pray. But I give glory to God that Trina, you don't know, only if your aunt was living, how proud she will be of you, what you did for us today. Without you, I don't know. Maybe I would have had to beat you up, but we give God the glory that you got us in touch with Jones and the rest stuff. You understand? And you can see, you can see the difference now. And you can see some of the people coming in different.
I think it's one of those things where we talked about this place is not only an educational facility. I mean, you attended, Dr. Bestman, you attended Sunday school here. And I did as well. And it set the groundwork. And for me, as a child growing up in the community, it was a safe space. It was a space where I felt loved and supported and learned the morals and character and integrity about life. Tell us a little bit about kind of...
It was great for us because children at that time could walk independently through the neighborhood and be safe. And so our parents, all children had to come to church. You're in question, where's it going to happen? And so I and my brothers would walk down from where we lived on 17th Street, near 17th Street to 14th, by ourselves. My parents didn't have to bring me, but they got us ready. So we knew you had done there. And that's where we were taught how to read. I mean, just basics. We were taught about the Bible, just basics, how you could build your religious life. And so it had great meaning because the church where my mother went, and even where I was baptized, St. Matthew's, we didn't get to go to Sunday school there. We learned our grounding was here. And so that became very important. And from there, deal with the churches in the Overtown. My kindergarten years were at St. Agnes. So the children were really exposed to all kinds of churches and all different religions too. And I wanted to say this. I mean, it's brought me to tears when I think about the investment that the Omni CRA and the commissioners and the city of Miami is putting in the Black churches in this city. You don't have that in any other area of Miami-Dade County. No other area, I can tell you that, because I know churches now that have closed, big churches that have lost. They've lost the church. And they in great need of repairs. But the city of Miami is the only one that has come in and found value in appreciating the historical churches and that people have built here and want to have the community thrive. And that's an investment in us personally, and an investment of our children in the future. And, I have some personal things that are going on in regards to right across the street from all of it, that the Omni CRA is helping me bring to fruition, and it's affordable housing. And it's across the vacant property right across from. It was intentional that I invested in property on First Court where I lived and where I grew up. Because I know my parents struggled, and yet we got an education. We were able to get a home. They made the sacrifice, and I think that all of the children in this community should have the same privilege of having that happen. You don't have to be wealthy to be a homeowner or to have a decent place to live, and that is what the Omni CRA and the others really put in us and let us know. Action is not just words, but it's action. And I am so grateful that they're doing what they're doing for Mount Olivet. You know, and I remember the church. And now I'll come back and be visiting. Yes, I look forward for that. Yes, I look forward for that. I'd like to say one more thing while we are talking on that. Well, in the beginning when I come in this church have helped lots of people, lots of people. You understand? For it to see it go down and with the pandemic. We have been so faithful with this neighborhood and other people all over that we used to serve food, we used to give away clothes, we used to not only teach with the words of God and things. We have had the pastors we have. We have taught a lot of children. You used to be surprised of the children and fame of people that come out of my. You'll be really surprised. You were like me. You understand? But we had some heavy people only because that their mother felt like they should come in here to church, Sunday school, and to church to be taught about God, but other things too, that to keep them on the right road. And we're glad to be able to see that. And that's what our intention is to do now, to rebuild and have them to come back. So the children and people need us. And they need to get involved. And what you're rebuilding like this and helping them as CR, you're doing something good for the community. You understand? We appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mother Geter. It's really inspiring to hear your story. And also it impacts all of the work that we're doing day to day, right? Because that's what we're tasked with doing. The CRA, we're a government entity that's tasked with removing slum and blight, revitalizing communities, historic preservation, affordable housing, economic development, and how can your tax dollars that you pay work for you best, right? When I look at some of the older footage of Overtown, I see a very thriving community, right? It was thriving. I saw Black wealth. Yes. I saw Black generational wealth. I saw young children on their way to, after church, on their way to get some food. It was good. I saw it was bustling. The landscaping in the area was so different. You know, it looked like where I want to live. That's what I see from the photos. It's looking like where I want to live. So our efforts in the CRA is to put the community back to where people want to live, right? Retaining a lot of the talent that we have here in Miami, creating opportunities so that, you know, people from Miami and from this area can benefit. Business owners, you know, or residents, it can improve their quality of life. It's the simple things, you know, that's not too far out of the reach and goal of the CRA. Things that we can, these are low-hanging fruits of things that we can achieve right now. So I think that's where we are in the CRA and what we're trying to achieve and get. We have a few projects that are on this block. So not just Mount Olivet, but, and I'll say this block, this street. Dr. Bestman, we spoke about your 2 projects that we have coming online. One of your project is an 11-unit apartment building, completely affordable housing project that will be available to residents and people that are from this area who want to be able to find housing that's, you know, within their budget. And that's important to us. And you own this land already.
I own the land. And it was intentional. It really was intentional because I've always had the dream of coming back and being, and I knew that I would get that age where I would need to probably have affordable housing too. Because the way that things are going now, you can't afford property taxes. Everything is going up. But I wanted to see children remain within the community and not having to leave, and the parents. So I even I wanted to develop a multi-generational housing.
That's your second project,
It's the
right?
second project.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, to find a duplex with 5 bedrooms and like 3 baths, you just don't find those within the community for affordable housing. But I want families to stay together and not have, the parents have to go to work, the grandparents live way 10 miles away or 15, 20 minutes, an hour away in order for you to get the children there to babysit them or whatever. And then they're ill and you just can't carry on like that. You can't survive. And the families are too broken. I'm a psychologist, and I see it. I see the experience. I see what's happened. It's very stressful to families when you don't come together. And you have to have a community. And that's what I really dream of and want to see invested in. And so, I've gotten plenty of offers for the land, but it's not about the money. Having money is good, but you can only spend so much. People who are extremely wealthy, they can't even put their hands on all the money they have. So I'm just saying that it should be used in the community for the people and the welfare of the people. And that's what my family brought me up to do. And that's why being grounded in the church is very important, because from the churches, Mount Olivet and all of them, we knew that we were a community and that we should be giving and helping each other. And that's the way it was. And that's what I would like to see happen again. That people began to relate to people and really invest in human beings.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Bestman. I think, we talk about 2 of your projects, which is on this street, both projects. I think it speaks volume to what we're trying to do and what you have done throughout, your entire career, and what it speaks to what we're trying to do with building generational wealth within this community. So you were born and raised here.
On this street.
And you're now investing. You've invested already. You own the property now. And now you're going to be developing the property. Both.
Yes.
Both projects. So 2 projects, an 11-unit affordable housing apartment building, and also the multi-generational project.
Yes.
Project 2.
Yes.
Wow. This is inspiring.
This could not happen without you, though. It could not happen without you. All these years, I have been praying and asking, send me somebody my way. And it's just fortuitous that it just so happened that I ended up connecting with the right people that led me to the Omni CRA in regards to my being able to get these off the ground. And this is really a blessing. I was shocked, surprised, but so happy. And it's been years. But, it's coming. It's coming to fruition. The dream becoming a reality. And I'm so grateful, because without you, it wouldn't have happened. I don't have that kind of money to, it's like, okay, you got to sell it. Just give it away, sell it for somebody else. And that's not what it's about.
It should stay in the community.
Yeah.
It should stay here.
Yeah.
It should benefit the people who grew up and was raised here. And it's a good model.
Yeah.
One of the initial conversations I had with you, Dr. Bestman, was about your property. Because sometimes it's always, for us, if we have property in Overtown and we don't have the means to develop, it's like you're forced to sell. Mm-hmm. And I think when we had the conversation, you're like, I want to build on my land. Like you said, that with so much power and authority. And then I remember saying, well, you can be a developer. Because sometimes when looking at to say that, to think someone that may not have the well-being or the knowledge or the resources, to think that someone who's lived life, had a career, and now that is actually going to be a developer of her own property. How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel really great, really, really great, because I just saw myself as an academician and a clinician. I mean, I could look at you and, well, not look at you. I have to really do a test per se, but I could tell you something about your state of mind, your behavior. But you give me an architectural plan and I don't even know where the door is on it. I have difficulty with that. So I never saw myself as being a developer. It was always, how can I get the money to have somebody do it? And I didn't see that also, and the mortgages and everything. And so I really feel so proud, because you know what? This has encouraged others. People who have found out that this is happening with me, they are reaching out and they want to know how can they get involved. And not only are they reaching out in terms of developing their own property, but there are others, like some professionals within the Black community, who now want to really come back into Overtown, into some of the housing that's here. And they're saying they're being told that they may not be able to. And I said, well, you have to fit into a form. They said, well, we can pay whatever they're charging. You're retired. We have the money. We want to come back into Overtown. So we want to have a place that we can come to. And I'm telling them, no, mine's not ready. They think it the next day. So I'm getting calls from people ready to move in. And so I'm excited about that. And I shared with Trina, we discussed home ownership versus, rental property. And the thing that I had a problem with when saying I'm going to build and I'm going to sell is that I find that the future generation believes in selling off the land. That their idea is not about maintaining the community and its cultural balances. It's just, how much can I make out of this? And I did not. I told my family, that's not what this is about. We want to make sure that people of color can still be in Overtown, and it's just not sold off to the highest bidder.
A lot of people, I realize that in this community, and that's always a fear of us too as an organization. It's very disheartening when we're working on a project, especially in the Overtown area, and then we see it be sold off, and just for a little margin of profit, when we know that if you would just hold it on for a few more years or just keep it, it's going to be far more valuable in the next 10, 20 years, because of, we're forecasting and we're seeing the redevelopment of the area. Look at the property taxes alone.
Oh, tell me about it.
Look at the insurance. Look at the property taxes. The value of the properties are going up in this area. And, it's like we're a victim of our own success. So the more we redevelop, is also the more that the property values and the taxes do go up in an area. But if our families could just hold on to it, we would be so much more advanced and, and have so much more wealth than we do today, rather than selling. But, your pilot project, Dr. Bestman, is, it's game changing. And it's a model that other CRAs and other cities and other communities can utilize. And I'm not going to stop until we see that project to completion.
That's how lots of people have lost their face. Because they didn't have the help. They didn't know which way to turn. So they lost their place. You understand? And that's what they need, someone like you all are reaching out to let them know that you're willing to help them. Because a lot of people need help. Because a lot of time people don't want to leave all the time. I left plenty of time to come back. I come running back. Yes, I can remember the little wooden house my mother had on 4th Avenue. You remember we was talking about that on the corner? How you can come out and sit out and play. How you can walk. Everybody was your mother because you couldn't talk back to everybody. Everybody had to be respect, no cheering. You could sit on the porch with the door open. It's just like you didn't have a door. You understand? That's what we want to see back again. And with you all out there trying to help her, it can't happen again. It's a lot of time. Overtown is not bad as they think it is. It's because we are lacking about lots of things. So we appreciate it again. Yeah, they.
Yes, it was a very, very vibrant community. I mean, it's a classical community, and it reminds me. Sometimes I'm saddened by the fact that what it used to be, I don't know if we can ever recapture it, because sometimes you can. But we had I was going through my grand aunt's material, and they're finding all of these concerts which occurred in the Overtown, classical concerts. They had music schools. The musicians had schools where they taught the kids piano, organ, and I mean,
Dr. Bestman, is this one of them that you shared with me earlier, the Moss School of Music?
The Moss School of Music, and they had a recital, and it was a junior talent. So they were in competition with each other, and Marian Anderson came in to town with the concert back in 1952.
Right.
And then at St. Agnes, they had the annual sacred concert and a recital of the St. Agnes Parish House. And so composers, this was in 1946.
Wow.
Yes. And so, it was really classical. And you had your doctors, you had your lawyers, you had business. And neighbors were professionals and non-professionals. I mean, we were neighbors.
That's right.
Because I lived 2 doors down from Dr. Hawkins, who was a dentist. Remember Dr. Hawkins? So, and your neighbors, your teachers lived within your community.
Let me see. Dr. Bestman, tell me some more about what we just discussed about segregation and then the years following after and the effects.
We were, Overtown was a segregated community. And our parents, it was very interesting because our parents really protected us from the effects, in a way, of segregation. I mean, they made sure everything was available. All businesses were here.
Yeah.
Prosperous. You didn't have, as I say, professionals and non-professionals lived in the same community. And everybody knew, that education was the prime thing. Everybody, we didn't have what they call special education classes now. They used to go to occupation, and you might have 15 kids in a class in the whole school. Okay, because there was no financial incentive to have special education students, because the state paid you more for a child who's classified as special needs than they do for the regular student. Mm-hmm. So I'm saying there's these incentives that are based on income and getting additional monies. But also you had teachers who invested in us because we were their students, and you had teachers who believed that we could learn. They never told us that we could not learn because we didn't eat breakfast.
That's right.
Okay?
That's right.
You could not come in that classroom and not do your work and expect to get a good grade, because your parents were going to be on you, the neighbors were going to be on you. It was a disgrace for you not to do well in school. Okay, and they really invested in us. So we learned, what they don't teach the kids now, we learned inductive and deductive reasoning. We knew how correct grammar, because we had to speak it in order to be able to survive in the greater community. And our parents, we were free to roam, but roam with our friends, and we had religious upbringing, and families really came together and helped each other out. And we had good self-concept in regards to, we believed that we were smart. We knew that it was there, that we could learn. And I did well in school, had no problems. All of us have a struggle, but I was saying they invested in us, and we knew they expected us to perform regardless to what the circumstances were in our life. And that is not what we get today. Because a kid doesn't have the proper clothes, that's affecting them. They can't learn. If you don't, I specialize as a school psychologist. That's my training. And I know that expectation determines a lot about how a child performs. But also, we had a Black hospital. We don't have one now. No one in the entire country. We had Christian Hospital. That's where I had my appendectomy, my first surgery that I had. That's where we went, to Christian, because Jackson didn't admit us, in the Technical Days of Cessation Turnovers. And you had your grocery stores. We had Tanner's, which is where the white people owned. You had to go through the cemetery to get there across the railroad track. But we had the local, grocery stores. We had our beauticians. We had everything we needed here.
Quick question. Let me see. So, Dr. Bestman, are you talking about that the Miami City Cemetery that's right here?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you used to walk through that cemetery?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What really happened with us, the schools, they made the schools take out prayer. When the children used to go to school, they had to come out. The teachers would bring them out, and they had a prayer before they come, which would make the day go along well. They cut that out. You understand? All over town used to be, when you see, we had our own store. We had one big store, was Joe's.
Joe's, that's right.
And then from there, we had a sergeant, a policeman, which was Mr. Brooks on First Court. Then the First Avenue on First Court, they had a daughter. He had a store, but he was one of the first black policemen then. One of the main first black policemen on the force come out of Mount Olivet Baptist Church was Mr. Ward. We had some good people. We had people that what they used to call the very added, was profession people in college and stuff. You'd be surprised. So every time you come around, you had your own restaurant. You had all noodles, the Harlem, the Morton's, you had all this for the black. Then you had a clothing store named on the corner of First on Second Avenue with the band used to come for these.
Family Florida A&M band.
We had all that going. We had chop suey. We had all these.
Chop suey, yes.
Yeah, you remember? We had a clothing store and stuff. Because I was one of the first that when Miss Riesman come up as a child, I was working in her clothing store. You remember Nasty Man, they call Nasty Man. He's in the church right there, St. John. We had everything that we went by was a business that nobody but blacks owned. And everything. Our little houses stayed on there. We had a good fan.
And we had our hotels. We had the Mary Elizabeth, we had St. John. And they would come, the black entertainers, because of segregation, were not permitted to stay on Miami Beach where they entertained. And so they would come and they have the night sessions over here. So Second Avenue was hot. Okay, at night, it's party time. And it's party time. They come and really perform over here. And they stayed in the hotels over here. That's how they got to the Hampton House.
The Sawyer's on the Skype Hotel.
Yes, the Sawyer's did, Dr. Sawyer.
And that's where they have the place at now. You remember go Sawyer when you see the what is it?
Sawyer's building.
That's a black man on it.
Yeah.
Sawyer. His name was Sawyer. That's why they used his name now.
Dr. Sawyer.
He had that property. Right round the corner was St. John and stuff. All the way down Second Avenue. That's where they used to bring the parades and
yes.
Was nothing but this.
The Orange Bowl used to come. Yeah. The Florida A&M, Orange Bowl, Florida A&M band.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Come down here every year. And we had a good thing. You line up and go and stand on the sidewalk and see them march and everything. We had used to have the business. They didn't have to close up to be afraid of us. We was all family, So we have had good things in this old town. And what happened is now, we need to bring it back. We need to bring it back, okay?
It was a joyous time. You were happy. But the Halloween part, oh God, the Halloween, we really had parties, bobbing apples and everything in the backyards. And we made our own bicycles. We had our dolls, the glass bottles. With the ropes, we get a rope and we curl the hair.
Yeah, we used to.
So there's a lot of creativity.
Everybody used to get in the street. all our children.
Yes.
Then they had a problem with that. They sent it out to live the city. That's when they start fighting out. They'll be come back over. But we never had any problems. We had the Bahamas restaurant on Alexander Street. The Mr. Small owning his bar and stuff, and the bicycle place. You had all your business right there, right in the center.
Holland Gardens.
Yes, and everything. Dixie Hotel, yes, everything. We had some business. We had stuff. If you look at it today, you would think we had anything. You understand? But we have had everything, and we need to rebuild it back for us. For us, everybody.
Let me ask both of you a question, because currently Overtown is in an interesting place.
Yes.
It's being gentrified. A lot of the land, I know you're grateful that you still own land. I know the church is grateful because they still own their property outright. And your mother's property was taken through eminent domain.
Right.
And my father-in-law, my great father-in-law, his property was taken through eminent domain as well, for the 395 expressway that is happening under construction currently. So with the gentrification that's happening right now, and a lot of Blacks do not own the land anymore. So it's hard to continue to either sometimes to tell the story or to be involved into what's happening in a community that we all hold so dearly. How do you feel about the lack of ownership and representation that's happening currently in the community of Overtown?
Well, I personally speaking, I don't feel good about it. And how it can be recaptured is another matter. But, and that's what I say in terms of our people coming together, because if we came together in terms of from an investment perspective, it could happen. But it takes our coming together. And I've had the experience. God has blessed me that I had the experience where when I was out in Texas, and some dear friends, they were all white, and just contacted me after I finished graduate school and, asked, do you have some money? Well, I just finished graduate school. I had my brother's 2 kids, he had been killed, and I had them, and I had maybe a couple $1,000 stuff. So I said what I had. So they said, okay, this opportunity has come up for land to be purchased. 1 year. It's another state, completely different state. And are you interested in investing? I said, well, I trust y'all, so yes. That's how I'm able to get the land here because of that investment. But I was the only Black. Okay? But nobody knew I was Black but then. But I saw the way they came together. And when they came together, some of those that were involved were not, they had top positions, but had been terminated for plagiarism or whatever, okay? But that didn't deter them. They put their monies together, everybody, and they bought like 600 acres of land. And then it was parceled out into people purchasing lots. So I'm saying that if we can come together as a force and put our monies together in investing, begin to trust each other, we can accomplish the same thing. We have to deal too much on individualism, and that's not the way progress is made, and that's not the way all the investment is made. People come together, they buy, they sell.
So, Dr. Bestman, you just described to me as twofolds, right? You discuss coming together as a community. You also discuss no matter your background or how you arrived or even just a second chance in community or in society and coming together despite all odds, no matter what. So maybe the solution to this problem that we're having in all of our minority communities across the nation and probably here is a reintroduction, coming together and working together as a community, not on an individual basis, but looking at the collective group of what it is that needs to happen. How do we get back into ownership? How can we acquire? How can we own property?
That is very important because I observed. I watched and I observed the way they operate. And down south, I know I had some friends. In fact, he was internationally known. He's from Africa, a biochemist. And his wife was a good friend of mine. And they were interested in buying into a neighborhood. It was literally all white. They were the homeowners association. They had to submit resumes, all that foolishness, okay? They were able to buy the land when the homeowners finally, because the developer decided that he wasn't going to go along with that foolishness, okay? Whatever. So they were able to buy the land. And when the other members of the association in that community found out, some of them, the lot next to them belonged to a couple that was down in Argentina. They contacted them, and the homeowners, other people in the neighborhood, got together and bought the land from them so that they would make sure that they were in charge of when that land is sold. They never, the time that they lived there was never another home built next to theirs.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
So I'm just saying that's the power. That's
Of coming together.
And that's the power of coming together.
You know, I was seeing a lot of time. I was always told as growing up, I'm going back to Overtown here. I was told that they was going to take this places here years because it's historic. It has lots of things that people want. And when you see it live today, you see what's going on. You got people got clean money that have wanted to get property over here, but couldn't get it. Fought hard. I was seeing Mr. Brown that had the upstairs apartments around there, but they forced him out. He fought him hard. He fought hard. A lot of us have fought hard, but to keep these places where we had those things. Only God protected you to keep what you have. You understand? You got a lot of people that wants to get property, but they can't get it. They push us back. We're going to be honest about this. That's why we need people like you all to come in that has a little more say-so that we have, that can speak and they can help us with a lot of things. Because some of us, they don't listen, no matter what we got. All our money has to be dirty money. But the dirty money, when it really goes down there, they can get what they want to take. Now we talking to I don't bite my tongue. I was trying to. But this is the way that I feel, and I ask God for a change. It will be a change. I'm a heavy believer because I believe in God. And I believe that a man can only get so high, but he sit up high, and he can bring it back down. So what you all having things going on, Dr. We can think, because I've seen it. I'll sit down and cry many days. Even over where I'm at now, Town Park, I'm looking at what's about.
Oh, yes.
I took my mother, when they put my mother in them, I took their place. They put her over there. She's been over there for 50-some years when they moved it through. Now, look what's going on. People had the place so long, they don't know what's going, what they're going to do. So we need help. We need people to, but they don't know where to run. So sometimes you say, go to CRA, go this and that, then. So, like we trying to push to get the help, you all have to continually try and push. Reach out. You reach out for us.
Because you need multiple, you need, residential is one thing, but you also need business development within the community. I mean, you need services within the community. So it really has to be a plan where it is an intentional plan where people come together. And, we like to be secretive. I mean, if you're about to lose property, let someone know.
You have to be able to speak up.
That's right. Speak up so somebody can really intervene and help. By the time it happens, then it's too late.
Yeah, but see, sometimes people are afraid to speak because they don't know exactly who to go.
Yeah.
And see, everybody is not honest as honest as that.
That's true.
So you go to someone that you think that you can trust and have faith in, and that's the wrong person. So you don't know which way to run.
But having trusted institution.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, from my time in the community and under different leadership, the Omni CRA under your leadership is now, in my eyes, and so many others, a trusted institution. And it's very difficult to be in community and want progress and to push things forward, to support the work that so many of us are doing and the groundwork that have been paved to continue to push that when you don't have trusted individuals or you don't know if people really are in it to support the work that is really needed. And I think it's one of those things where I think you asked the question, or you mentioned the importance of people coming together. And I think it's one of the challenges that I would say that I have on the CRAs and the city. The challenge, I would challenge you all to look at some of the land or that is either owned or operated or occupied by city government or CRA, to create opportunities. Yeah, we need housing, we need development, but why not look at it in a space where, okay, you bring historic owners or folks that want to be based in the community to be equity partners, to be a part of the development, instead of just gifting or giving the land to developers that are making millions of dollars, but they don't really have a care, and they can probably sell off the land after the 15 years to be able to flip the land. But as Ms. Bestman, she isn't a developer, however, but she's the owner that wants to create generational opportunities in community. How can we accept that charge?
So, this is an interesting conversation. What a lot of people don't realize is that a CRA is a government entity. So when we own property, we have specific rules by which we can allocate or, dispose of that particular property, sale or lease. And, for the city of Miami, we have the charter, right? And it must go according to that competitive process. Oftentimes, or communities and the people who are bidding don't end up in the top ranked position. They're not. The other discussion that we just spoke about today is also acquiring the site. That is another option. But where do you get the equity? Where do you get investment? Where do you get the opportunity to acquire the sites that are within these historic areas or minority communities? And that's another avenue. You can ask for a grant to purchase. You can ask for a loan. You can ask these, entities, whether it's a CRA, a city, or another entity, or a private entity, for these ones that are investing in these communities. So it's about looking at the options that we do have. We have done in Overtown here, we have given a loan for an acquisition of property and given a loan for rehabilitation of property. That's the 16th Corner project that is here. And those are other options that are on the table. So it's looking at all the options that we have and using all the tools in our toolbox. Now, I wanted to kind of wrap this conversation up and, get a feel, just where we are and kind of bring this home so that, we can tie it in. Dr. Bestman, any last words?
Well, I think that in terms of last words, I see hope in the future. I do. Because I think what the CRAs, Omni CRA, and the others are doing, particularly in the city of Miami, and I guess you have the same kind of action happening I hear more in North Miami than I hear in other areas of the county. That is very that gives me a sense of hope that our people will become educated in the fact that I learned. And now I'm exposing others to it, that we want the message to get out and tell people to trust. We're directing them to organizations that we feel can trust, that they can trust. rather than just taking it with any developer, because there's lots of them out there, because they'd come to me. And so that's the kind of thing. So I'm very hopeful that, the future is going to look bright as our people are also waking up. There's an awakening going on, and they're understanding that they want to invest in their community rather than, because they've been out there, they see it doesn't make, traveling on, it doesn't pay. And people want a sense of community. They want, I have this thing about pets, I'm not against pets, but I think they want something other than a dog in their life. Okay. But they want some human beings that they can relate to, go out with, have fun with, and the phones are fine, but I think they're getting tired of sitting in the restaurant. He's sitting here taking you out to dinner. He's looking at his phone, and you're looking at your phone, and nobody's talking to each other. So it's that kind of getting back in touch. I think that people might want that in terms of sense of community, but need the help to be able to get there. And y'all going to do it.
And Mother Geter, what would you like to say as far as for your closing words?
I like to see more people like you, Trina. And I'm going to say this, but I know she doesn't want me to put her in a thing. The young lady that I have that brought me here, she's an honor too. She's trying to get, but she helps so many people like you all. If we can get people like you all to let us know what's really going on and reach out to us, because a lot of people don't know who to reach to. And a lot of time you say that we can go for this long and go this in, but it's not easy for a lot of us. So we got to have some kind of like a head in order to let us know, to help us in the community. I would like to see the CRA continually doing what you're doing, Miss Jones. I wouldn't say, but let's continually doing what you're. And Trina, I'm very proud of you. I'm not saying it because you reached out to the church or because you're the church, but keep on. I've seen you run this race and helping a lots of people and giving to lots of people. And this is what we need, because I have a young lady back there sitting in there with the baby. She does the same thing. She's getting her own business. She got her own business, but she reached out to other people that's not able to help. If we get more young people like that and reach out instead of doing other things, we can make it. We can make it. And it will be done. It will be done. If I go on home, I know it will be done. Okay?
And just one other thing, just like you're saying, we need homeowners, but we need entrepreneurs also. That is the meat of a community. So business development is just as important.
Yeah.
Yes, that's that. And I think the younger people are hungry for it. With the pandemic, many of them saw how they could work independently and do their own thing, and it just, some of them left regular jobs and dog sitting business now. I'm not picking on dogs, but I mean they're doing their businesses, they're developing businesses, and that's what I encourage them to do.
Right.
Really get into business. Have other people working for you.
All right. Thank you so much, ladies, for doing this with us today. I really appreciate it. Thank you.